Welcome back to another episode of Stacking Dennys. There we go. I'm Jordan McAbee of RotoBaller, my co-host Nick Giffen of the Action Network. Playoff field is set. Alex Bowman, Tyler Reddick, the last two drivers in. We did not get a new winner at Daytona. Ryan Blaney wins from the pole after qualifying rained out or lightninged out, I guess, last weekend. But Ryan Blaney ahead of four winless drivers this season, rounding out the top five: Suarez, Justin Haley, Cole Custer, Eric Jones. But it's Ryan Blaney getting another win at Daytona, proving once again that Penske is very good at super speedway racing, having the speed there. Kyle Larson wins a stage, gets another playoff point for him. And we saw chaos early and often at Daytona, as we expected in that race to happen. But overall, Nick, what do you think of that race? Outside of it being the typical cutoff race.
I think it was one of the better super speedway races we've seen in the last couple years. I know early in the next gen, I thought the super speedway races were awesome. But as we started finding out more and more about that fuel saving stuff, super speedway racing became worse. But I thought this was a good one, probably a little bit because, everybody was so intense. They wanted their track position. It was, it's a cutoff race. And then also just the timing of specific yellows and things like that happened to make it to where fuel saving didn't really matter, especially in stage one. And then, stage two, there was some fuel saving for some guys. We saw a couple of the Hendrick cars come down on pit road early because they were about to run out of fuel, right? But, I think it's one of those things where aside from that, stage three, balls to the wall because it's every man for himself there. And thought it was a really good race. It would have been even better if either the guy that finished second, third, fourth, or fifth won the race, because I had bets on all of those guys.
Yeah. In addition to shaking up the playoff field, I know you had bets on those guys. And it was like you said, I thought it was a very good race for what it was. You almost got
your root for chaos thing with Reddick early, right?
And I know, right? I was so excited.
Right after.
Yeah. Oh, I was so excited when Reddick had his issues, and I'm like, this is it. We're gonna get it. We're gonna fucking get it. And
yep.
As is the case, typically we don't. But playoff field is set. Solid race at Daytona for what it was. Like you said, we've come to expect these races to not be that great in this next-gen car, but it showed once again with the right circumstances that we can still have good races at Daytona and Talladega. And hopefully the upcoming race at Talladega in the playoffs is similar, and we see good racing. But, yeah, overall, I thought it was a good race there at Daytona. I didn't have any major complaints on anything in the race. I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. And anytime you have a race weekend like that, whether you win money or lose money, I had two bets, and it was head to heads. I won both of them, so I won both my bets. That's always good. But anytime you can sit there and just thoroughly enjoy a race, I think it's a good thing for NASCAR.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. It was certainly just a intense race, and I thought the ending was fantastic. I mean, Blaney, what an expert, right? He led like 26 laps in stage one, and then he leads 0 more laps until the last one, and he came through I think he came from 15th to first in just the last 2 laps or something like that, as everybody got all shook up, because he was on that strategy where he pitted. He took a lot more fuel because he was leading so much early, and then he never got his track position back, and until the end. And part of it was, I think Justin Haley made a completely terrible block. If Cole Custer goes underneath you, yeah, he might gain the lead, but he didn't have any help at that point. He had such a monstrous run. He was going to come back to the field, and then you have Blaney right behind you pushing you. There wasn't enough of a gap that Custer would have gotten for Blaney to get underneath you. And even if Blaney tries, that's the one you block. So I think Justin Haley made completely the wrong move, which I think was odd, knowing he's been in a lot of super speedway races late from the Xfinity races, where he's been in the lead and he's been able to maintain the lead, and even sometimes in the Cup Series. So just thought it was an odd move from Justin Haley to really put a horrible block on Cole Custer. I mean, he felt like he had to do it, but I don't think he had to do it. And I understand the block, but I think for Justin Haley's best chances to win, I actually think not throwing the block there and letting Blaney on your bumper there, maybe dragging the brake a little so that the gap closes to Blaney, and then you have Blaney on your bumper and Custer's all of a sudden out there with no other car. Then you get to make the kind of the same move on Custer that he made on you. And then maybe Custer tries to throw the block. But I think Justin Haley just made the wrong move there down, the back stretch, which allowed things to get really chaotic and open up a 4-wide finish with Blaney taking it by half a car length over a pretty much nose to nose right. Other 3 cars.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw a tweet or something from NASCAR saying that was like the first time in like decades that top 5 cars were that close. You mentioned the move that Justin Haley made. I also saw a comment on Twitter after the race asking, it was just a general, and the tweet kind of blew up, but why Custer didn't push Blaney up and try to force the issue there on the final lap to get the win. And the only thing that I can kind of come up with is that's just not kind of the guy Cole Custer is, potentially wrecking the whole field. I mean, obviously it'd be great for that team to get into the playoffs, but at the end of the day, it's not who he is. That's not how he races. So right. I do think that was a factor of it, but this was also a good reminder for DFS players, because this was an interesting situation. The pole sitter won the race. The pole sitter led the most laps. The pole sitter did not make it into the top lineups at Daytona. Right. The top winning lineups at Daytona, even though all of those variables still happen, which we've talked about before, where if the pole sitter would lead a bunch of laps, the pole sitter wins. Yes, he could end up in the optimal. He could end up in the top lineups. This happened this time, and it still did not get Blaney into those lineups. So once again, pushing the issue of never pick the pole sitter in DFS at Daytona or Talladega.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, like we said, Blaney dominated stage 1, 26 laps led, ends up winning the race, but only 27 laps led and not even in the optimal lineup. By the way, I guess a little bit of a whine about it to myself for not being able to get more than 6 lineups in the big GPP, but I was not expecting the contest to fill 4.5 hours early. I got back from lunch, went to enter my lineups, and it was full.
That's been the case.
My 6 lineups were the last 6 in, I think. So sucks.
Yeah, it's been the case. They've contests have been filling quite quickly, especially the high dollar ones this year, just because of demand's higher than what they want to open them up at. And it is what it is. DraftKings, I think, has gotten even more conservative than they have in the last few years when it comes to NASCAR contests. But I mean, there's not much we can do about it. But this once again proved that the demand is definitely there for the Daytona cutoff race.
I'll tell you what, one other thing I noticed from this race, sorry, just real quick, in the past 5 Daytona playoff cutoff races, the average number of cars finishing in the lead lap was like 17 and a half. It was like 10, 15, 20. It's funny. Every single one has been a multiple of 5, I think. It was like 10, 15, a couple 20s and a 25. Well, this one, 25.
Really? That's funny.
So weird how like it's always a multiple of 5. But this one tied for the most of the 6 Daytona Coke Zero 400s since they moved it close to the playoffs.
You mentioned laps led, and obviously that was a topic on last week's episode. And one of you tweeted out one of the best bets of the year was under
close.
Under 43 and a half for the most laps led by any driver in that race. Obviously the under was the smash bet. The under hit very easily. The highest was 27, both by Logano and Ryan Blaney. They both led 27. Cody Ware coming up third in 23 laps led. For the longest time, I was rooting for Cody Ware to win that race.
Oh, me too. That would have been awesome.
Especially
if the Reddick incident stood and Bowman was worse maybe, and then Bowman didn't get caught in that big one. Oh my God, that would have been amazing. It would have been the ultimate FU to that format.
Right. Yes. But yeah, overall, like you said, good race at Daytona. We're now moving on to the playoffs. got the playoff field set. You have anything from Daytona that we can take away, or are you ready to dig right into this postseason?
I just shout outs to Cole Custer for that top 5 finish. He was 16-1 day of the race at FanDuel for top 5. That was just far too long for a guy that nearly won the Daytona 500. So, yeah, I mean, look, Cole Custer's been awesome at Daytona. Maybe that's something to kind of keep in the memory bank for the 500 next year.
Yeah. And he's still getting underappreciated, I guess. Where people are catching more onto Cody Ware, especially in this race, I think his ownership in the big GPP was 15%.
Yeah.
Let me double check that quick. Custer was at 13%, and Ware was at I'm not going to be able to easily find it, am I?
Yeah, it was somewhere in the double digits, though.
Because I'm pretty sure it was like 14%.
Yeah, because I mean, even
almost 18%, 17.97.
I don't have it in front of me, but I remember even like the shit boxes were like 5 and 7 or 9% or something like that. So, yeah, no, and
that's definitely what happens when we get qualifying like that, where we don't have qualifying.
No, yeah, exactly. And I just I can't believe here. Let me pull up what I had for Cole Custer in my projections as far as points, optimal or whatever I call it, the perfect percent. I had Cole Custer in the optimal lineup 18.8% of the time, which I think is way too low. I'm not sure why it was only 18.8, but yeah, that was right around what he was owned. But yeah, I'm not sure why it was so low. Interesting, but that's something that'll get obviously naturally adjusted, knowing that he had a great Daytona run. And if Cole Custer 75 to 1 for the Daytona 500, I'm betting him.
Absolutely. I'm trying to find the regular season point standings not adjusted for the playoffs, and I can't find it.
I bet Racing Reference would have it.
Because I'm pretty sure Larson won it by or got second or whatever by like a hair, and they credited that for those times that he went back on track after destroying his car and got the fastest lap, which I thought I'm surprised at this. I could see the potential for this to bring up debate in the offseason of whether a driver needs to be on the lead lap or something to get that extra
it was
time.
It was third place in the standings he got because of his fastest laps. But yeah, Larson finished the regular season with 800 points, and 2 of those fastest lap points came after he destroyed his car or had incidents at road courses, and then set the fastest lap at road courses because that was whatever happened there. That's what it was. And then Larson also had a fastest lap at Kansas and at COTA. So at 4 COTA also, 3 road course races, he had the fastest lap while he finished 32nd or worse in all 3 of them. So, and then Chase Elliott had 0 fastest laps all season. So that was really the difference, was the fastest lap points for Larson going from 4th to 3rd in the standings.
Mm-hmm. And then obviously Larson winning that first stage at Daytona as well was big for him. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Anything else from Daytona for you? Pretty typical stuff.
Nah, I mean that's Daytona.
Yep. All right. Our playoffs are set. 16 drivers remaining for the championship. We'll cut 4 of them after these next 3 races. We got Darlington, we got Gateway, and then the second Bristol race of the year for this first round. 16 drivers in order of the standings right now: Kyle Larson, William Byron, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney, Christopher Bell, SVG, Chase Elliott, Chase Briscoe, Bubba Wallace, Austin Cindric, Ross Chastain, Joey Logano. We got the cutoff line there under Logano. Josh Berry's 1 point behind Logano. Reddick -1 as well. And then Austin Dillon -2 and Alex Bowman -5. A lot of people pointing toward SVG, Austin Dillon, Josh Berry as the easy targets for the first ones out of this first round. Do you agree with that? And who's your fourth?
So you were saying Austin Dillon, Josh Berry, and SVG.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have Josh Berry making it through
Because he's good at Darlington.
He's good at all three of these tracks.
Mm-hmm.
He got Darlington and then a short flat, and then Bristol. He was really good at both times. I think we've run Bristol in the Cup Series that he's been, or I should really say all three, because there was two last year. The tire race where he was really good. He finished 12th. Then he finished 12th at Bristol earlier this year. Second Bristol last year, he didn't finish well, but he typically runs well at Bristol, whether it's Xfinity or Cup. So I actually think this is a really good round for Josh Berry. So I have him making it through, but I do have Austin Dillon out. I do have SVG out. And even though SVG is sitting sixth in points, and he's been better at ovals, but these 14th to 20th place finishes aren't going to cut it, especially if you're not getting stage points. And
in
to
the
me,
playoffs,
that's just
definitely not going to cut it.
To me, that's just not good enough. So SVG out, Austin Dillon out, and I have Josh Berry making it through. So that's two of the four.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, with SVG, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago, there is a path for him to make it. Don't get me wrong. Shit can happen. Drivers can have issues in two of the three races. It's not unheard of for this stuff to happen. He has the good point advantage right now, sitting sixth in points, 16 points above the cut line. That is pretty much going to be erased after this next weekend at Darlington. His two starts at Darlington finishes 26th and 20th. That's not going to get you anywhere to where you're going to maintain this little 16-point gap. So I agree with you. SVG first one out, and I'm there with you on Austin Dillon as well. As an early exit, I think that's an easy pick as well. SVG is the road course king. That's why he got in. Austin Dillon right now is the Richmond king. That's why he got in. Now the thing is, if you're having Austin Cindric advance here, and I know we're kind of like, this is kind of going out of order where we're making our picks of the first four out, but it meshes well. We're going, it's working fine. That means there's going to be a big name driver that's going to drop out. And, do you think that's going to be more due to bad luck or just slow speeds? Because even someone like Joey Logano runs pretty well at Darlington.
Yeah. Joey Logano is one of my guys that's out.
Is it
this round? Yep.
Okay.
Yep. He does run well at Darlington, and he runs really well at Gateway. Penske does as a whole. Bristol, maybe not his best track these days. He's had some good moments in the past for sure at Bristol, but I just think Darlington, there's a lot of guys that are going to be really good at Darlington. A lot, right? And Joey finished 13th earlier this year. I think another 13th without stage points, especially considering he's the driver on the bubble right now, technically speaking. A 13th without stage points at Darlington may not be good enough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's been bad. He's been bad at Bristol in the next gen era. And the Penske guys has always been that team where they run like fringe top 10 most of the day. And then if there's something that happens late in the race, that's when they like finish eighth.
Yeah.
But without something catastrophic happening to some of these other drivers, that's how Joey Logano is going to sneak by in this round because, unless he goes out and wins Gateway, which I could also see that happening. Like I can see both things happening. I can see Logano winning Gateway, and then I can also see him out first round. Like it's going to be something as well. And I could see Cindric doing well at Gateway. I mean, Cindric had one of the best cars at Gateway last year.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I got Joey Logano out, and then it was really tough to get this last one. I was definitely debating Cindric, Ross, Briscoe, Bubba, Reddick, Barry, of course. But I decided on Alex Bowman.
I was just thinking that.
Yep. And it's not that I think he's bad at any of these tracks. It's just, it's a little bit like, I think a guy like Ross and Reddick having two steep tracks, which fits their driving styles, is huge for them. So, Ross and Reddick, and then, Cindric isn't as bad at some of these tracks as it may seem, Darlington and Bristol specifically, but, I definitely could see it being between like Cindric and Bowman for that final spot, but Cindric having a 6-point edge to start helps. Plus he has Gateway, which has been a great track for him. Obviously a win there before.
I'll tell you what, I could see Tyler Reddick missing out or getting out of the playoffs early. Yep. One stripe at Darlington and wrecking his day. He's not very good at Bristol. One top 5 finish, and that's his only top 10 and 8 starts at Bristol. He's not amazing at Gateway. And the way that team is running, I don't know what's wrong with them. I think Tyler Reddick's going to be my surprise pick.
Your big name
to fall out here early.
That's a good one. That's a good pick. And I would definitely, the season Bowman has had, I am rooting for him to make it far because I think he deserves it. He's had so much bad luck. He's been so much better than, the last driver in the playoffs or currently 16th in the standings just because of everything. I mean, like we talked about on the episode last week, without some of this bad luck, this horrendous luck, he'd be right up there, maybe in that Chase Elliott, Christopher Bell range, fighting for that 2nd through 6th or 7th spot in the regular season.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at how Bowman has finished over these last 2 months, which is, I don't know if that's a great barometer of how a driver is going to be in the playoffs, but it's obviously something to consider with their momentum. They've gotten it back together. Tons of single digit finishes over the last few months for Alex Bowman. That's a sign you like to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel bad keeping him out of my final 4, but you kind of just have to pick somebody. I picked him, but I like that Reddick pick too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Reddick is definitely a prime candidate to fall out early. And I'll tell you what, I also think Ross Chastain is another one.
Yeah, I think trust. Bristol and Darlington are so good for Ross. And he's been
definitely
decent.
He's not bad too. He's not bad at Gateway by any means, but he's one of those drivers where it takes one bad. I mean, obviously all these guys, it takes one bad race, and they can fall out. But I feel like Ross is running, and Reddick for that matter, are running so just above average or even just slightly above average that one bad race is definitely detrimental to them. That could put them in a really bad situation of needing to definitely get those stage points. And Ross Chastain has been so bad at qualifying this year, that hurts his chances at stage points. So unless there's a major turnaround there, I think I'm going to throw it out there. I think either one of Ross Chastain or Tyler Reddick is going to be out after this first round. That's like my big pick.
Yeah,
one of them is definitely going to be out.
I totally agree with that. I think that's a possibility, but I think just especially Darlington's such a good track for both of those guys that I could see them both advancing as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could see both of them winning here at Darlington this weekend.
All I'll say is this. I think once you get like Larson, Byron, Hamlin, Blaney, and Bell, I think are the only safe ones. And even then, they're technically not safe, but like they feel safe. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, those are definitely the 5 that I'm like, it would take something catastrophic for those 5, one of those 5.
And hey, catastrophic things can happen. You can blow a tire, easily. You get a Darlington stripe, blow a tire at Bristol, fuel mileage at Gateway, and all of a sudden you're out.
I mean, how many years ago was it? Things. How many years ago was it at Darlington where we had all those engine failures? I mean, absolutely. That's not out of the realm either. So,
so yeah. So your 4 are who? I didn't end up.
My 4 are officially my 4 are SVG, Austin Dillon, Josh Berry,
Tyler Reddick.
And Tyler Reddick. I'm gonna say Tyler Reddick.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. I love that Reddick call. As just here's the thing. I mean, and I'm getting ahead of myself here a little bit, but even Denny Hamlin mentioned on his podcast, I think it was last week or something, that like Bubba's been running better than Tyler. Well, if we look at the 10 tracks in the playoffs, Tyler's better than Bubba, but they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th and 9th in driver rating at these 10 playoff tracks. So they're right near each other. Now there is a bit of a gap, but that's from last year and this year. But I'd say, the gap is closed this year because I'm also including last year's data. And you're right, Reddick. Bristol's a track that should be good for Reddick, but for some reason, it hasn't been in the Cup Series. It's been better for him in like Xfinity or things like that. But like you said, one Darlington stripe that negatively affects the handling, like we saw from Denny Hamlin a year or two ago. That's it. That could be it for Reddick.
And the other side of the coin here, I'm sitting here saying that Reddick is kind of underperforming this year, not running as well. But the fact that his teammate Bubba Wallace is running so well has the potential for Reddick to go on a run here. Like, yeah, I can see it both ways. Like, to me, this first race is really important, and how Darlington shakes out to how this whole first round is going to go. Because
I agree.
It's close. It is close, and there's going to be it's going to be razor thin, I think, for some of these really good drivers that could legitimately potentially challenge for the championship to get knocked out early.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I agree with you. Top 5, I think, are pretty safe. All good tracks for all those guys. Here's a question for you though. So we have our first 4 out. Do you think Darlington, Gateway, and Bristol that we see a non-playoff driver win one or more races in this round?
I'm going to say no, only because I think like the long shot contenders at Gateway are guys like Austin Cindric who are in the playoffs, right? Certainly a Keselowski could win Darlington. Certainly a Buescher could win some of these, or maybe a Priest, but we're kind of getting to the point where unless it's like a Hocevar or a Keselowski or a Buescher, Ty Gibbs really hasn't been a threat. Kyle Busch really hasn't been a threat. Like I don't see a new winner. I actually think Darlington's the best shot of a new winner. It does tend to produce the occasional long shot. We saw Chase Briscoe last year with Stuart Haas. He opened the week in the 50s, I think closed the week in the 20s or 30s, even maybe in the teens, depending on, various books, but opened the week, I think at 50 to 1 last year. We saw Eric Jones 80 to 1 a couple years ago. We've seen Regan Smith in 2011 in triple digit odds win this race. Back when it was the Southern 500 was earlier in the year. But that was the 500-mile race. So Darlington can throw the surprise winner. So I think this weekend is actually the best chance, because I think your long shot chances at Gateway are guys that are already in the playoffs. Josh Berry, Austin Cindric, right? Maybe a Ryan Priest would like kind of disrupt things, but or maybe a Hocevar, but I don't think they're really quite there, especially at Gateway. Maybe not for Hocevar, but I could see Hocevar contending at Darlington. I could see Keselowski, contending at Darlington, Buescher contending at Darlington, and then Bristol. We know Keselowski and Buescher will be strong as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got 3 RFK cars outside of the playoffs, and if anybody's going to break up this party and win one and not be a postseason team, it's going to be the RFK guys.
I believe it'll be RFK, or honestly, maybe a Hocevar. The kid, we know the kid has so much upside, right? And he should have some good tracks here in these 3 races. But the other thing about RFK, and we talk about this every year, and Stevie and I talk about this on Running Hot every year, they test if they're not in the playoffs. And with that means they could find something and just have an unreal car. They could also stink up the joint, right?
Right.
but they're going to be in testing mode with 3 cars. And if one of those 3 cars finds something, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. It would not surprise me. I mean, this is one of Keselowski's best tracks. He's one of the best drivers here and has been his whole career. But yeah, and it can go both ways when cars are testing. They can, if they are off to start the week and you know that they're testing, the chances of them finding speed during the race like you would expect in the regular season is very minimal, because it's just, they're trying to find something, and that's their only goal of the weekend. They don't care about, finishing 10th. It's they want to win the damn race.
Absolutely.
But you don't see Ty Gibbs contending for a win. He's decent at Darlington, but I'm not there.
Where has he ever contended for a win besides Bristol?
He finished second here at Darlington. He led 34 laps here, 2024, second and third in the 2 stages. I mean, that was a good run for him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess Gibbs could be a contender. Maybe I'm with you. Maybe I'm sleeping on him too much. Maybe he's a good top 10 bet.
I was looking at that because I think he's like plus 230.
Yeah, I think he's in the plus 200 somethings.
Mm-hmm. I can get behind that.
Ninth year earlier this year, like you said, had a runner-up finish here.
But is he going to be testing?
Yeah, exactly. Is he going to be the test dummy for the Toyota crew that's in the playoffs?
You have to think so, but I don't know. Maybe he's not. I don't know. It's tough. That's the tough part about making bets this time of year is if you're not betting on the playoff guys, it's tough because you don't really know what these teams are going to do. And that includes even strategy. They could make some crazy strategy call too, just to see what happens or a why not situation.
Yeah, for sure. Final 4?
All right. Oh, we're picking Final 4?
Shouldn't we?
Yeah, we should. All right. Okay, let's do one at a time. Or do you want to just do all 4 each?
One at a time's fun. Let's do that.
Okay, I'll go first. Since you went first last time, or for the last one, give me. Kyle Larson is my easy number 1, so I'm going Larson.
Kyle Larson is my easy number 1.
Yep, I think we're on board there. And I know who one of yours is going to be.
Yep.
Because of some stuff this weekend, but I'm going to tell you what, he's not going to be in my Final 4. I don't really like how that team is running, even though I think if he does get there, he wins it, which is a weird thing to say. But my number 2 pick is going to be Denny Hamlin. I think he makes it.
My number 2 pick is Christopher Bell.
There we go. By the way, if anybody couldn't read my cryptic messaging there, I think I don't think Christopher Bell makes the Final 4 this year.
I think the danger for him is the round of 8, but all he has to do is navigate the round of 8, and I think he's in a great spot. But the danger for him is the round of 8. I mean, he's got New Hampshire in the round of 12, which is, he is the number 1 driver at New Hampshire, period.
Yeah, not even close.
Yeah.
Third in for me is going to be Ryan Blaney.
I'm also going to go with Ryan Blaney, third in for me. Strictly because of Martinsville.
Yeah, right. Here's an interesting comment. SVG no Final 4 appearance minus 700, the bet of the decade.
No, I don't agree with that.
I do not think SVG is getting to the Final 4, but yeah, minus 700 is that's a lot to lay down.
Here's the problem with that. He's in a good position. I know we eliminated him, but he's 6th and 5th in points or whatever it is right now. 6th in points, and he has a nice 9-point gap to the next driver. And he has a 12 no, sorry, 16-point gap over the cut line. Then if he wins the Roval, he's in the round of 8. And we have Talladega. And we have Martinsville, which is a good track for him.
Yeah, that Talladega race could be huge.
Yeah, and Martinsville has been good to him in the Xfinity Series. I know in the Cup Series, he finished 34th earlier this year, but that team has also, again, been improving. As we said, he's been, finishing 14th to 20th at a lot of the ovals lately. And now if we go to one of his better tracks, it could get a little interesting. He finished 11th at Martinsville in the Xfinity Series in a year where, he finished 12th in the standings only because he had so many good road course results. So really, that was probably 4 to 5, 6 spots above his average oval finish that year in the Xfinity Series. Martinsville theoretically should be a good track for him. SVG has also been really good on this tire combination that is going to be used at Martinsville, specifically more at the Bowman Gray race, the North Wilkesboro race. But he was good at Richmond too, where we just use that tire combo that they'll be using at Martinsville. So 3 of the 4 races on that tire combo, he's going to be good at he's been good at, I should say. So I'm not counting him out of making the Final Four.
Which is, it's crazy to think, but that's just how this format goes, and the extra points you get for the wins and everything. It can make a difference. There's certainly a path.
I understand the thought of it, but I don't think it's the bet of the decade. I think it's probably positive EV. I haven't run any sort of simulations for the whole playoffs or anything, but I'm
surprised I am surprised it's only minus 700. I'm not sure where that's at. I haven't looked at anything around, but I figured it'd be like minus 1,500 or something like that.
No, I mean, like I said, he could easily make the next round if he stays problem free in these 3 races, win the Roval. All of a sudden you're in the Final 4 or Final 8. And then you have Talladega and Martinsville.
Yep. Definitely
there's absolutely a path there.
All right. So far, I got Larson, Hamlin, Blaney. You have Larson, Bell, Blaney. And now my biggest dilemma is whether I go with the easy pick of William Byron or I go with a kind of underdog to make the Final Four. I'll tell you what, I'm feeling a little risky today.
You're picking the same guy I am, aren't you?
Huh?
You're picking the same guy I am, aren't you?
Now I'm curious who you picked. I
already gave it out on Running Hot. So
did you? I haven't heard it. I did bet Bubba Wallace to make the Final Four. I don't know if that's your final pick, but I'm going another Toyota. I'm going Chase Briscoe.
That's who I gave on Running Hot.
Is it really?
Fourth. Yep, that's my
fourth.
That
is wild. No freaking way.
Yeah.
Huh. I got a feeling about Briscoe.
Yep. Team's running really well.
I like how that team's improved so much this season. And we know, it's a Joe Gibbs racing car.
Absolutely. Martinsville is a very good track for Chase Briscoe. Las Vegas should be a good track. Dega's Dega, right? So, yeah.
That's funny. So are we in agreement that do you think there will definitely be a Penske driver in the Final Four this year?
No, I don't definitely think that.
Don't definitely?
No, I could see Larson, Byron, Hamlin, Bell, right? Or Larson, Byron, Hamlin, Elliott, Briscoe, some of these guys that we've talked about.
Yeah, it's setting up to be, I think, a really good playoffs, even though it feels like there's only been a few to a handful of drivers that are consistently really good. Any of these guys could get on a hot streak and make the final round, including, like I said, Bubba Wallace. I think there's a path for Bubba Wallace to make it there.
Absolutely. I actually think this is the most dangerous round
for SVG.
Yeah. I think this is the most dangerous round for Bubba is this round. I think the tracks for him in the round of 8 especially are amazing. If he makes that round of 8, he could be in the Final Four.
The thing with Bubba is he's good at Darlington.
Oh, very good.
But for this first round, for a driver to quote unquote have to rely on being good at Darlington is a problem. That's where one bad thing that happens at Darlington, all of a sudden, oh shit, he's not very good at these other two tracks. Yeah, exactly. Exact same thing.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's going to be interesting to see, and Bubba's been so much improved in a lot of places. I think he could have a strong gateway run, but hey, he finished third at Bristol last year in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he wasn't in the playoffs, but
he can get there.
Mm-hmm.
He finished third at Martinsville earlier this year. I still see the path for him to get to the Final Four.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or eliminated first round. It's
oh yeah, a lot of these drivers have huge ranges of outcomes.
And at the end of the day, it's probably going to be Joey fucking Logano in the Final Four taking the championship again. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
By the way, did you think that was race manipulation by him at Daytona?
Yes. Actually, I initially thought that, and then I saw the replay where the wheel was turned, but the car wouldn't turn, kind of thing. Yeah. So I actually don't think so, but initially I thought so. I should say.
I think it was to the point where I would not be surprised whatsoever if he was trying to do that. And it was almost just like he didn't get the benefit of the doubt in my head when I first.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I agree with you. Once I saw the second replay in the different angle, I was like, okay, he might have actually been, but it definitely looked pretty bad there.
Plus, NASCAR would have the SMT data on did he just steer into the grass and park it?
Right. Yeah. So, all right, we got our playoff picks in. It's time to talk about Darlington.
Champion winner? Actually, are we doing that?
Oh, are we doing that here?
Yeah, I mean, usually we do it start of the playoffs, and then we do it in the Final Four.
Oh, yeah. See, I'm so used to it when we do it in the Final Four. I'm losing my mind. Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead.
Christopher Bell.
So, there you go.
These tracks are unbelievably good for Christopher Bell. 9 of the 10 tracks, the only one that isn't is Talladega, but it's Talladega. 9 of the 10 tracks are unbelievably good for Christopher Bell.
I can't. It's hard to argue that. You can't. I mean, the numbers say you can't.
Yeah, and if he makes the Final Four, he's favored at Phoenix, even over Ryan Blaney, in my opinion.
So that's going to be my pick to win it. Is Ryan Blaney out off of my Final Four? I think I just if a Penske car gets to Phoenix, I think they take it.
I disagree with that. I think if Blaney and Bell get to Phoenix this year, I think it's Bell.
I would love to see that. As much as I dislike Christopher Bell, I would love to see someone dethrone Penske like that.
I mean, let's look at Christopher Bell since the start of last year at Phoenix when we had those new bodies. Remember, we saw that preseason test. I literally watched the preseason testing races. First at Phoenix, 5th at Phoenix in the race that, Logano was champion, but led the most laps. First in Phoenix and won a stage and led the most laps.
And I think that 5th place finish out of Bell, I think they did some weird strategy call or did something that caused, they didn't give a shit about the race is what it was. Whereas, if he was actually racing for the championship, he would have.
Sure. Yeah. So
he would have won it.
And he didn't make the championship only because of some bullshit NASCAR call that to this day, he didn't wall ride. You could hear him get out of the gas and just crashed. He just wrecked. And yeah, there was manipulation from the Toyotas. There was manipulation from the Chevys. It was such a mess, but I honestly think Bell probably should have been in the Final Four last year.
Mm.
You remember I was heated after that Martinsville manipulation and NASCAR's call and all that stuff. It was a mess, but Christopher Bell, look, again, I tweeted it out. 2nd best driver rating among the playoff drivers at these 10 playoff tracks since the start of last year, which is when every manufacturer has been in their current body car.
Mm-hmm. Who's number 1?
Larson. And then there's a gap down to number 3, which is Hamlin.
Mhm.
So like it's a clear 1-2. Larson and Bell are neck and neck at these tracks.
You know what's interesting is neither of us are like automatically saying Kyle Larson's going to win the championship this year, even though he has the most top 5s, most top 10s.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Interesting.
Now on
and also
right?
neither of us have the regular season points champion and William Byron in our final 4.
Yeah, I know.
So
it's just there's a big 6 really: Larson, Byron, Hamlin, Blaney, Bell, and Elliott. And it's like
we didn't even talk about Chase Elliott.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about him, but I mean, he could consistency his way into the final 4.
Mm-hmm. I just don't see even if Chase makes it to the championship, I don't see him winning it.
I agree.
I just don't think that they have it this year.
Completely agree.
But yeah. All right. On to Darlington. Southern 500. Already had one race here this season, won by Denny Hamlin, dominated by William Byron. Byron led 243 of the 297 laps. Tyler Reddick was out front for 42 laps. Hamlin led 10 laps for the win. Blaney finished top 5 in that race, as did Christopher Bell, finished 3rd. Busher, Chastain, Chase Elliott, Ty Gibbs, who we talked about earlier, finished 9th. And then Kyle Busch and Austin Cindric came home 11th in that race, finished 8th in the stage. Kyle Larson, the favorite to win this week. I had FanDuel pulled up earlier, plus 550 for Larson. And then Hamlin, Byron were right there, as was Blaney in the odds.
Yeah.
Reddick at 7-1. Do you agree that Larson should be the favorite this weekend, or do you think someone like a Hamlin should be the favorite?
I think Hamlin should be the favorite, but
I agree with you there. That's why I kind of
makes sense with makes sense with Larson, but I think Hamlin should be the favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm there. I think there's a little bit of a gap between Larson and Hamlin to the other drivers. Not a major one, but I think there's a gap that that those two should definitely have the strongest cars this weekend.
I agree.
But we go back to last year's Southern 500 and Chase Briscoe in his Stewart Haas racing car won that race. So it's not and when we talk about Darlington, this is such an interesting track to handicap and kind of preview, because a lot of guys that you think would have a bunch of wins here don't. Kyle Larson has led 1,048 laps in his career at this racetrack. That is the most among active drivers, more than Denny Hamlin, who has over double the amount of starts at Darlington. Mm-hmm. Kyle Larson has 1 win here. He's also finished 3rd or better in like half of his starts here, but he only has 1 win. Southern 500 last year, he won both stages. He led 263 laps. He finished 4th. Hamlin leads the way with wins when it comes to this track. 5 here for him. Eric Jones has 2. Brad Keselowski has 2. And then it's a bunch of people with 1. Chase Briscoe, William Byron, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Kyle Larson all have 1. Best average finish at Darlington, 26 career starts for Denny Hamlin. Average finish of 7.9, which when you consider how difficult this track is crazy. Yeah. Next best is a full 4.1 positions worse. Brad Keselowski at 12.0 over 23 starts. And then Tyler Reddick at 12.3, 6 top 10s in 12 career starts, 4 of those top 10s, top 5s. 0 wins, though. Best finish of 2nd. Yep. Larson's up there as well, 12.5. We talked about how many laps he's led here.
Yeah, I mean, Denny Hamlin's unreal here. And, 20, what do you say, 20-something races, 26 races or something. And that includes some bad finishes. He finished 25th at Darlington playoff race 2 years ago. And I think it was, 2022 first Darlington race, finished 21st. One of those 2 races, I can't remember exactly which one. He had a really fast car, but then got his Darlington stripe, which was enough to damage his car and ruin his day. even though he raced the rest of the day. So it was like just some things going on there with Hamlin where like he could have an even better average finish if not for a couple little minor things. Which is, again, why I think he should be the favorite. We all know Larson's great at Homestead and Darlington, and I can't argue against him being the favorite, but for me, I would flip the two, but they're neck and neck.
Yeah, when you consider how quick that 11 car has been this year on ovals and just intermediate tracks in general, you look at his track history at Darlington, the fact that he won the race earlier this year, it's hard for me not to see Denny Hamlin in victory lane this weekend.
The thing though is average finish doesn't mean as much as what is your upside and your probability of reaching that upside. And I do think Larson's probability of reaching that upside is just as high, if not higher, than Denny Hamlin's. So, that's what we're talking about. For me, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, it just kind of depends on your probability of reaching that upside. And Larson has such a high upside. I mean, look, he won Homestead, dominated Bristol, 2-stage wins, led the most laps, won the race. Kansas getting kind of high tire wear, right? Like Darlington is one of his bread and butter tracks. And he's performed so well at all the similar tracks this year, other than Darlington itself, which of course he DNF'd, but which is always in his range of outcomes. But I mean, Darlington's a fantastic track for Kyle Larson. His upside is through the roof here. And it's kind of wild that he doesn't have a Darlington win. Only one Darlington win.
Yeah, that's definitely a takeaway from Larson and Reddick. Between those two, as well as they've ran here at Darlington, between the two of them combined, they have one win, and it's Larson's. But like I said, Larson has a bunch of podium finishes here. He has 6 finishes of third or better. You can throw in a fourth place finish there as well.
Yeah, where he led the most laps. And
you're looking at 7 of those 15 starts. He's finished fourth or better.
2022, he finished 36, but he and Ross, I think both wrecked while battling for the lead or at different things, that kind of stuff, right? So, I mean, Ross Chastain, massive upside here too.
Yeah, he last 4 races here, Ross has not finished worse than 11th. And before that, he was a contender to win in 2023. I think he wrecked out there. That's the race that he led 93 laps.
2022, he wrecked out in the lead or going for the lead with Larson.
Yep.
In the first Darlington next gen race.
And he's one of those guys that I mentioned earlier that I don't like how they're running this year, but at the same time, if he comes out here this weekend and wins Darlington, I'm going to be when we record next week, I'm going to be like, I'm not surprised at all. It's wild how.
And the other thing is this is a 500-mile race, not a 400-mile race. So there's more opportunity for shit to hit the fan, for things to happen. Guess who won the 600-mile race? It was Ross Chastain. Right? All of these oval races, non-drafting oval races we have are 400 miles or less typically, other than the 600 and pretty much right here. I don't know if there's any other 500-mile non-drafting oval races.
I can't think off the top of my head. So when we talk about, so this is a good comment here. Nick has talked about it before, and this is the exact point I was going to bring up. Nick's talked about it before. The longer the race, the better Ross gets. There's a couple drivers like that. Ross Chastain's one of them. Kyle Larson is one. And Chase Briscoe. All 3 of those guys, their teams get that car better throughout the course of the race. Like someone like a William Byron, he's pretty much going to have the same speed all race. And if he has track position, yes, he's going to go out there and dominate. If he is a 5th place car, he's going to go out there and run 5th.
Yep.
Guys like Ross Chastain, guys like Kyle Larson, guys like Chase Briscoe are going to find more speed as the race goes on, or potentially go the other way. They could lose speed, but they're going to constantly be looking to get better. And that's where it plays into this longer race can play into those guys' hands where they can get better.
Absolutely.
I mean, we saw it with Briscoe last year. He won that race late.
Yeah. No, I know. I mean, the Southern 500 is wild because a lot of the big names win, but then there's a lot of other guys that can contend, right? I wouldn't be surprised if Chase Briscoe wins, if Ross Chastain wins, if Brad Keselowski or Chris Buescher wins. Josh Berry should be strong. You mentioned Ty Gibbs finished second. Hocevar should be strong. Eric Jones, what about him, right? Like, it is a deep roster. So
Kyle Busch finished second last year.
Yeah, exactly. And that I'm just naming longer shots, right? We all know like all the favorites can win this, whether it's Larson, Blaney, Hamlin, Byron, Reddick, Bell, Elliott, Joey Logano's won here in the next gen era, moving, when Byron out of the way. That was, I think, the first race in the next gen era when Ross crashed and Larson crashed. Bubba should be really good here, right? Like, I think this race is wide open for who can win, which makes it so hard to bet these short odds guys.
It does, especially now, because I feel like you could get the same or similar odds on race day and even in the race.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Right there. We're on the same page. Great race to live bet.
I would agree. Or wait till practice, because I think practice data, we've talked about it, like with flags, my flags metric it's the most effective on the intermediates.
So I'm glad you brought that up, because the schedule this weekend, we're practicing and qualifying in the morning on Saturday, racing in the evening into night on Sunday. How misleading could that practice data be for when this race transitions tonight? Or will the cooler temps of the morning be more indicative of who's going to be good at night?
Yeah, I mean, it's a 9 a.m. Eastern practice, right? Mm-hmm. So,
which I can't think of the last time we practiced that early.
No, I know. I mean, that's wake up ass. That's wake up ass early.
Setting up an alarm to watch practice.
Yeah. Exactly. Let's wake up ass early if you're out on the West Coast. But there's rain in the forecast for Saturday, but it looks like probably will hold off until midday or afternoon. So we should get the practice in. But temperature wise, I mean, we're looking at around 70 degrees, high 60s, maybe at most 70, 71 degrees for practice on Saturday. And then the race on Sunday, once we get to 8, 9 local, we're right on that same temperature. Mm-hmm. The difference is the sun, right? There will be sun for practice. There won't be sun. So the track temperature will be cooler for the end of the race, but the ambient temperature will be similar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a discrepancy I kind of saw there with when I was looking up the schedule earlier today. I'm like, damn, we got a 9 a.m. practice.
It's almost like 9 a.m. practice is good for like the crossover point between the start of the race and the end of the race.
yeah, exactly. When the sun's going down. All right. Let's talk about so we talked about the big name drivers, the guys that are most likely to win this race. I want to talk about some underdogs, maybe not to win this race, but potentially to get a solid finish. Todd Gilliland, our boy, we need to get him on this podcast, by the way. Mm-hmm. 17th or better in 5 of his 7 starts here at Darlington, including an 11th place finish here in 2023. Finished 14th here earlier this season after starting 12th. Could definitely see a decent run out of Gilly this weekend.
I think that whole front row motorsports team will have speed. I mean, we saw Zane finish 12th earlier this year, and Darlington's a great track for Noah Gragson as well.
So here's a comment from earlier. I excellent point of bringing this up. We have to listen, or Matt said have to listen later, but front row was really fast at Darlington in April, or are those speeds artificially inflated by track position / timely cautions for them?
No, I think they're good here. Like you said, Gilly's been good here consistently.
Yep. McDowell was good here.
McDowell's always been good here in a front row car. Yeah. And then didn't look as good here when he raced in Spire earlier this year, raced for Spire earlier this year. So I think this is a good front row motorsports track. I mean, hell, McDowell finished 7th and 6th here in 2022. Average finish is 6.5 for a front row motorsports car in 2 races.
Yeah.
And then, 10th last year in 2024 in one of the 2 races. Had a couple DNFs in 2023, which doesn't really indicate your speed, but no, this is a good track for front row motorsports. I gave out Noah Gragson top 10 on Running Hot. At 10-1, it got bet down right as the podcast was dropping by Greg Mathern, tracked it on the Action app. And so I had to track it at 9 on ESPN. But I mean, you get, again, the extra 100 miles creates more opportunity for some of the bigger teams, names, drivers to have things go wrong. And we do see some surprises pop into the top 10 at Darlington.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of this debate, whether it's track position, timely cautions, or actual speed, one guy and one underdog that has a few top 10 finishes here, 3 of them in the last 7 races, that is probably more due to circumstances than anything. And Justin Haley finished 9th here with Rick Ware Racing in 2024. I think that was kind of legitimate speed, but 8th here with Colleague in 2023, 3rd here in 2022. Those were because of circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
But again, he ran pretty well here in a Rick Ware car. Is the potential there for him to have speed in his Spire Motorsports car this weekend? It's another one of those where it wouldn't surprise me either way. If he goes out there and lays a turd, would not be surprised.
The only thing I'll say about Darlington and Haley or McDowell or Carson Osvar is they just haven't seemed to find the setup. And these are drivers that have had good Darlington results, whether it's Hocevar in trucks or Xfinity, or McDowell with front row, or Haley, in some of those circumstantial ones. Spire has struggled for results at Darlington, other than we talk about surprise top 10s. Corey LaJoie last year finished 9th.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Like we talked about how Zane was really good here this year in front row, but finished 3 laps down last year with Spire.
Yeah, it's all, and I feel like Darlington is one of those tracks where if you come out and you don't hit the setup at least somewhat close at the beginning of the race, you're screwed. Your whole race is screwed. Yeah. Like it's very hard here to get it back or get back on track if you're not there to start with.
Like Hocevar, even he's had 3 Darlington starts in Cup. He hasn't even had a stage result, right? So. It's hard for me to trust those Spire cars this weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we saw Spire have a bunch of speed earlier this season. Is it the early season, rush, and then now we're in the playoffs and they're going to fall back to where they probably should be when it comes to speed? That's certainly possible as well. We see that every single year. We see the cream definitely rise to the top when it comes to these playoff drivers here in the final 10 races.
Yeah, I mean, Haley finished 10th at Homestead. Hocevar had an 8th place stage 2 result at Homestead. But, we're talking very back half of the top 10 is like their peak between Darlington and the most similar track to Darlington over the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Switching gears here a little bit. Well, first off, I mentioned Todd Gilliland. He's 11-1 for a top 10 finish at FanDuel. I don't particularly hate that.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all.
So I haven't made any bets yet this weekend, but that's definitely on the radar for me. But here's a good question. Why not Blaney? His long run speed is so elite this year. He's right there with Denny and Larson, or no?
Just a hair below for me, just because Denny and Larson are so good here. Not that Blaney's not so good here either, but this is one of the tracks that Blaney used to be bad at. He's gotten so much better at over the course of his career.
Still waiting for that breakout.
Yeah, still just got to give the nod to Larson and Hamlin.
His 5th place finish here in April is his first top 5 finish in 17 career starts at Darlington. Now, I love the long run speed that car has this year. I love the fact that Blaney had the best car at, Homestead this year?
Mm-hmm.
until he blew an engine. I
Yep.
love all that. I think there's definitely potential for Blaney.
Absolutely. And,
to do well.
even the improvement at Richmond with his, just high tire wear tracks.
Yeah, there's definitely a bunch of upside for Blaney this week, but his track history is enough where I'm not betting it because,
right.
I mean, he's only led 24 laps here ever in 17 career starts. So
Kyle Larson's led 24 laps here probably like 20 times in his career or something. No, not
quite,
but you know what I mean?
Averaging like triple that,
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Let's see. We talked about, I wouldn't call him an underdog, but Chase Elliott is solidly, I would say, his normal self here at Darlington. So the last 5 races, he's finished 12th or better every time. He does have a third place finish, but all of his driver ratings, none of them are above 89.1. So he's another one of those one stage top 10 in his last 6 starts here.
I still like him.
You still like him?
Oh yeah. I mean, this is 500 miles. You're going to have to be more consistent. You're going to have really good pit stops from your pit crew. And I think that's another thing that holds Blaney back is you're going to be making 10 to 15 pit stops this race. And Blaney's crew makes mistakes. Their pit crew makes mistakes, which is going to set him back probably at some point in this race. So you want good pit crews and you want massive consistency. And I think Elliott, has shown all year he's been consistent. His 2 results of worse than 20th came in 2 of the last 3 races, but that was, neither of those were really his fault either. So I think Chase Elliott, I love his consistency to finish top 10.
Yeah, you mentioned how important it is to drive consistently and just steady at Darlington and hit your marks. And the first guy that comes to mind for me with that is William Byron. Like I said, dominated this race this spring. He won here in 2023. When you look at the last 14 stages, he's finished top 5 in like most of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times in the last, 14 stages or whatever. Yeah, so Byron is definitely a guy that I think fits that bill as well. The other drivers have upside. Someone like William Byron with his pit crew and with his driving style, I think just fits for him to be a solid top 5 contender. And if things go right, he's going to be in contention for the win.
I think Christopher Bell's going to be pretty strong too. It's 3rd and 3rd each of the last 2 Darlington races.
Mm-hmm. He did lead 40 laps here in 2023 from the pole. It's his best effort as far as laps led at a Darlington race.
Yep. Finished 5th and 6th in 2022, debut year of the next gen. But really just looking at the last 2 years under this current Toyota body, 13th, 3rd, and 3rd, right? So that's pretty solid. It's an average finish of like 6.3.
Yeah. And then, we talked about the RFK cars, Brad Keselowski, 2-time winner here, top 5 threat here in the spring. And then he had a wheel fall off or something happened. But last 6 races here, 7th or better 4 times. Would not surprise me if they brought some speed here this weekend as well. Going back to like some of the lower tier guys. Let me see here. Ty Dillon finished 16th earlier this year. He also has a 12th place finish to his credit here back in 2022. We talked about the front row guys. What do you think about Austin Cindric this weekend?
I mean, again, another one of those guys that I think will be contending for a top 10. He's not somebody I would, kind of shoo into the top 10, but I think he's a borderline top 10 contender. So
to me,
if you can get him at pretty good plus odds, I like that.
Yeah, to me, his path here at Darlington with Team Penske is similar to how Blaney has been improving. So Cindric was like a top 20 guy from the beginning. 2022, he finished 18th, 16th, 19th.
Yeah.
Finished 31st in 2023, then 20th, and then these last two races, he finished 13th, and then earlier this year he finished 11th after starting 6th. So you can see the progression going up.
Yep.
So just something to keep an eye on there with Cindric as well.
Yeah, I agree. And I guess an interesting thing with this, just in general, with this car, with the crop of younger drivers, is it used to be like year 3 was like the big year. It almost seems like year 4 now is when these guys are getting it. If you're looking at Ty Gibbs, right, like he's starting year 4 now because he had half a year in 2022. He had full seasons in 23, 24, and now half a year in 25. So he's basically completed 3 full seasons now, a little more than 3 seasons. So and he still hasn't won. Austin Cindric, it took him until halfway through last year, which was right around 3 seasons, a little after 3 seasons for him because of some, one-off races or a handful of races in 2021. But he really seems to be coming in his own back half of season 3 and season 4 with getting better at some of these tracks. And I think Austin Cindric, a borderline top 10 contender, but I'd want some pretty good plus odds, at least in the 2s, which I think is what we're getting on him for a top 10 finish. I see plus 180s out there. I'd want at least a 2 in front of that number because he hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, I think, we talked about Ty Gibbs earlier this episode, and I think he's in that mid-2 range. I think I'd rather have Ty Gibbs,
Absolutely,
who has shown the ability to post a top 10 finish here, over Cindric this weekend.
Yep.
All right, you got anything else for Darlington before we get to our picks and everything?
Nope.
All right. Let's see here. I got 36 for 36 pulled up, so let's do that first. You had the chance to definitely make up some points this last week. I took Riley Herbst at Daytona. He finished dead last, got me 1 point. Ty Dillon got you 15 points, so you definitely shored some up there. Gained 14 on me. I'm sitting at 687. You're sitting at 633. I added some columns if you look at our little spreadsheet here, all the way to the right, and it's their average points per race of the drivers that we have remaining. And I haven't updated owner points in a little bit, so it's a little bit off. But
but I see what you're saying there.
Yeah. I just wanted to get an idea of it kind of gives you a gauge of which drivers we have left.
Yep.
So total sum of the drivers that I have left, average owners points is per race total is 284.8. Nick's sitting at 228.4. So definitely not over by any means, though. 10 races to go. You're only 54 points back. And all it takes is a blown engine from one of my guys in 1 or 2 of these races, and you're right there. So we got Darlington this week. Looks like you have a choice to make this week. Who are you going with?
I sure do. I think I'm going to go right. Like, we've got Talladega. So I think I'm obviously using Riley Herbst at Talladega. Where else am I going to use Riley fucking Herbst?
Hopefully somewhere he gets you more than 1 point than he did me.
I know, right? Well, that was a bullet dodge there for me as far as that is concerned. And then if I look at like John Hunter Nemechek, Darlington's just
not good.
Not really the track for him. So that kind of simplifies things.
You got Gilly.
I know. I have Gilly and I have Noah Gragson. I think I can pencil in Ricky for Bristol probably. Suarez is an interesting one. I don't know exactly what to do with him. We're both probably saving Dinger for the Roval.
Yep.
I have Austin Cindric, who I can probably pencil in the Gateway.
Same.
Blaney to Phoenix. So it's like, do I want to use Zane or Noah here? Where do I use Daniel Suarez? And where do I use William Byron? So the tracks that I don't know would be like Darlington, New Hampshire, Kansas, Las Vegas, Martinsville. And then the 42, right? Like, but I know I'm not using them here. So, like I could see myself using Noah at Martinsville. Where would I use Gilly if I didn't use him here? Martinsville. Yeah, just kind of going through Gilly's career. Like Roval could be sneaky if I wanted to use Gilly in a spot to try to make up ground and hope Allmendinger has a bad day or something, right?
Yep.
I could be kind of sneaky. Because like his top 10s are all at super speedways, Martinsville, road courses, or Indy. Oval. But, you know, he's had some good intermediate track results. 11th at Texas, 12th at Kansas, 18th at Charlotte.
Decent at Darlington.
Yeah, and decent at Darlington. So the question is, do I use Noah or Gilly? And I think I'm going to use Noah here and probably save Gilly for Martinsville. 2 top 10s at Martinsville for Gilly Gang.
Yep. That's a strong move.
So I think I'm going to use Noah Gragson here. To go along with my bet, I will take him in 36 for 36.
There we go. I too was contemplating Gragson. I think there's a lot of ways I can go this week. I could go Larson. I could go Gragson. I could go Hamlin. Initially, my pick was going to be Briscoe. I kind of talked myself out of that. I still got Zane, who, like you said, finished 12th here last time. I got Logano sitting there, who has a decent track record. I'm going to go for max points, though, this week. I'm going Denny Hamlin. I'm going to burn my Hamlin this week.
There you go.
At Darlington, too. Number 11. Yeah, initially, before we got on here, I was for sure gonna pick Briscoe and kind of talk. I keep just holding Briscoe.
Yep. I mean, he's a good one to have for Phoenix too.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, I'm going Hamlin. Just his track record's too good here. I want that. So I'm going Hamlin. Picks to win. You had Gilly Gang last week. I had John Hunter Nemechek, who I thought, for a while there, I thought Nemechek was going to compete. And I think they got a speeding penalty or something and kind of shuffled him back. But Gilliland finished 11th for you. It's a solid finish on a super speedway. And then Nemechek finished 17th for me. So your turn to go first this week with picks to win. Who you got for the Southern 500?
For the Southern 500 picks to win, give me I don't know. So many drivers could win this. Give me Chase Elliott.
Interesting. I wasn't expecting that.
I wasn't either. So I did bet 2 drivers at Circa. It was only available at Circa, these numbers. I bet Chase Elliott at 23. I bet Bell at 15. Didn't track it in the app simply because there was the only book available. What those numbers was Circa. But I did tell the Action Network Discord about it ahead of time. So if you're in the Action Network Discord, you have Circa, you got those. But I love Elliott's consistency, and I think this is going to be a consistency race and a pit crew race. And if you're in the mix late, that's all you need.
That Bell line, yeah, that would have been an instant bet if I would have saw that. That's good. All right, you're going Chase Elliott this week. I was going to double up with my 36 for 36 and go Briscoe on both. And since I didn't go 36 for 36, I'm going Briscoe. It's a Briscoe week for me. I think Briscoe doubles up in the Southern 500 and goes back to back.
Yeah.
So give me Chase Briscoe. My pick to win this week.
I like it.
Okay. Let me get this up. So DraftKings last week, I know I definitely didn't. I'm not sure about you, but I did not think of the possibility of qualifying getting rained out, so I didn't care about the qualifying order. I ended up with 49.45 points in the DraftKings contest last year. You ended up with 155, which puts you back in the lead for the overall season standings by 18.1 points, 49.37.7 to 49.19.6. You get another win. Let me share my screen here, and we can make our DraftKings picks for Darlington. This is my first time that I'm looking at this price list, I guess, or salary list. So I have no idea who the hell I'm going to pick. So I'm glad you're going first.
All right. Well, I'm going to start with Denny Hamlin.
Yep. Number one driver on the board.
And then I'm going to go to Kyle Larson.
Doubling up. Okay.
Really like $8,700 on Ross Chastain.
Okay.
Keselowski, $7,600.
That seems underpriced for sure.
Yeah. And then give me Front Row Motorsports teammates, Gregson and Gilly.
Gregson and Gilly.
There it is.
Going Gregson over Zane, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So you got Hamlin, Larson, Chastain, Keselowski, Gilly, and Gregson. Get that one locked in there. You didn't give me much time to look at this. I don't know what I want. Usually when you're making your picks first, I'm like, going in my head.
I just looked at the salaries for the first time too, but that lineup just fell into place for me.
Isn't it interesting? Like, I don't know, especially if I'm like building last second lineups and I land on one that like it just makes sense in my head and like it just feels good. I don't know. I feel like it might just be like a random thing or bullshit, but I always feel like I do well when it just like falls into place like that. But let me see here. I'm gonna wait to decide on my top driver. I'm gonna go Tyler Reddick. I feel like he's a good value there at 9,700. I'm gonna go Bubba Wallace, double up on 2311. Hard for me to go against Keselowski here. Keselowski. Let me see here. I think Gilly's a very good low dollar driver there. Average of 9,300. Okay. So if I go Ty Gibbs, who I think is a decent, very well priced driver at $6,900. Oh, I can definitely upgrade here. Okay, so give me Larson. Oh man, that's not quite what I want to do. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely considered Gibbs as well. I just think if he qualifies like fifth, that might be kind of rough.
Oh, what do I want to do here? Actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go Briscoe, and then instead of Larson, I'm going Hamlin. So I'm going to go Hamlin, Reddick, Briscoe, Keselowski, Gibbs, Gilly.
That's a great lineup.
There we go.
You just need Gibbs to not qualify
not qualify third and fall back to 11th.
Not qualify third to 6th and then fall back. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going heavy on Toyota this week with Hamlin, Reddick, Gibbs, and Briscoe.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm. All right. You got anything else this week?
Sir. Final race of the IndyCar season this weekend. Bet Kyle Kirkwood to win. He is 9-1 at 9-1 at a couple books.
Where's it at?
It's at Nashville Superspeedway.
Okay.
He qualified on pole last year, dominated the race, pitted, and then a caution came out right after he pitted, trapped a lap down, stormed all the way back to 4th place finish, despite the bad luck. But he had the best car. His teammate ended up winning that race. So, the team is good. And he won Gateway earlier this year, which is the best comp for Nashville on the IndyCar circuit.
Okay.
So 9-1 at ESPN, 9-1 at DK.
I've heard enough. I'm betting Kyle Kirkwood. Easy enough. IndyCar. There we go. In. Let's go Kirkwood. Hell yeah.
Yeah. And actually, I forgot to track that. I meant to track it at 10-1 when it was that earlier, but forgot to. So I'll track it now. IndyCar at Nashville. Kyle Kirkwood to win. And that is on the 31st. And 9-1. ESPN, DK, doesn't matter. Kyle Kirkwood to win. Track.
Perfect. All right. Well, Sunday night race this week. Should be a good one at Darlington. First race of the playoffs. 27th race of the year. Should be fun.
I'm excited.
We'll be back next week to talk about Gateway.
The
second race of round 1. We'll see if we get a playoff driver that wins this week, who locks themselves into the round number 2. But good luck to everybody. Enjoy Labor Day weekend. Enjoy the holiday and the Southern 500 race on Sunday. And we'll see you guys next week.
Sounds good. See y'all.